Hi, Dave with Tornado here, and today we're going to be showing you the usage and maintenance of the CVD series upright vacuums. I've got the CVD 30 12-inch, the CVD 38 15-inch single motor or dual motor, and the CVD 48 19-inch, which only comes in dual motor. To demonstrate the usage and maintenance, I'm going to move the CVD 48 out of the way. The CVD series, you'll notice right off the bat, has yellow touch points. Everything is color-coded yellow for all the areas that are important for the operator to understand. Getting under the hood, I like to start with the flow of the dirt. This is where the dirt originates and goes up through the vacuum. You'll notice the strike plate is easily removed toolless to access the brush roll. The brush roll has a cogged gear with a belt, and that allows for the unit to have a clutch built into it, and that clutch disengages when it finds something into that brush roll that it doesn't like. You'll notice the brush has a chevron design, and it's pulling the dirt over to the throat of the machine, where the suction begins, goes up through the machine, and drops directly down into the bag. That's important because a lot of other units you'll see out there have 90-degree or 45-degree bends to get the dirt into the bag. Our unit drops directly into the bag. The toolless feature, being able to take the strike plate off, is so much easier to get to the dirt and hair and yarn and all the good stuff that builds up on that bar. We also put these channels inside that beater bar, and you can just cut away right where those channels are and turn the vac on, and it'll self-clean essentially. Putting that strike plate back on is a snap and 3 twists. Coming up through the machine, you'll notice the next piece. This is where the hose and the wand connect, and that yellow piece is a clean out port. You can pinch, pull it open, and check to see if anything ever gets clogged in that machine. It's also a good idea after every use to take a look down there and clean stuff out. Snap that back into place. There's an arrow built right into it that aligns with an arrow on the machine right there so that it slides in and pops in. Next on the back, you'll see the clips are color-coded yellow, and that's for your 2 tools. This lever right here changes the vacuum's height. Right here is a diagram that shows you how to operate that lever. What that lever does is it allows you to loosen up the handle for the proper height adjustment for the operator. With it in the upright position, you're able to lift up on that and increase the height for somebody taller, or lower it down for someone a little bit shorter, and then all the way down for the smallest of operators. Moving around to the front of the machine, you're gonna find the floor height selector of the brush roll. This dial denotes whether it's low or high, and that's gonna depend on whether you're cleaning carpeted surfaces or hard floor surfaces. The machine comes preset at the lowest surface for hard floor surfaces, and you're going to increase that as your carpet pile gets thicker. Lastly, you've got a touch point here for your foot. That's gonna step on a lower, and you're ready to clean. Once you're finished cleaning floors, this model has the ability to put tools for above floor cleaning. Your hose and your wand, and your 3 tools. We're gonna use the crevice tool, pop that on, and you'll notice the hose has a very long extension. It's about 7 feet. All right, next let's take a look at where the dirt goes. So we mentioned before, the hose comes down, straight down into the bag. Touch handle releases the front plate. Now the bag is a heavy-duty fleece-lined bag, which gives us that true HEPA rating. Underneath that, we've got your aftermotor filter, and then your HEPA filter. And both of these can be maintained washed, cleaned, vacuumed out. And the last thing I'd like to show you about this cover is the rubber gasket seal that we use right around the outside of it to make sure that we're containing all of the contaminants inside the bag. We use that kind of honeycomb design to make sure that this is heavy duty and withstands any commercial environment. The next thing I want to show you is the toolless removal of the brush roll. You'll notice another yellow handle touch point. We're going to pull that open, have access to our brush roll where we can easily remove it and put the new brush roll back in. What I like to do is just kind of lie the vacuum back on its side, slide it in and make sure that that brush roll is seated all the way down at the bottom. Keep your handle flipped up. Just kind of give a tug here on the brush itself, make it nice and level, slide it in and lock it down. And you're ready to go with your new brush roll. And while we're talking about brush rolls, one of the greatest features of the CVD series is the fact that this unit has a clutch system in it that disengages that brush roll when it senses something that it doesn't like in there. Rather than burning out a belt, it's got a geared cog that runs that belt and disengages when it finds resistance in that brush roll spinning. What you're hearing is the clutch in action. It's finding something that it doesn't like in the vacuum and it disengages rather than burn itself out. Once you've cleared the obstruction, simply restart it and you're back in business. Let's see what that looks like from the underside. The disengaging clutch is one of the greatest features of the CVD series. When you hear that sound, that real high-pitched sound, you'll know there's something in there that vacuum doesn't like. Also, it's important to make sure that your floor height indicator is set to the proper level. Sometimes you can go over shag carpeting or maybe an entrance matting that's a little bit thicker pile. And if this isn't set right, that'll disengage and you may be cleaning and it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. The last thing I want to mention, the vacuum has a built-in light right there. When that illuminates, that's telling me that there's an obstruction in the airflow of that vacuum system. Most people might think that's a full bag indicator light, but in fact, it is an airflow restricted indicator light. Let me explain what I mean. So when that light starts to glow, let me show you what you should do first. You want to follow the flow of the air from the floor all the way to the bag to find out where that obstruction might be. First, we remove the strike plate, check the throat to make sure there's no obstructions. You should be able to see right through to the beater bar when you pop off the first port. The next thing is you can pop this out, the wand, the hose, and disassemble really simply to check for any clogs. And this pops right back in. And then the last thing you want to do is take that bag out and make sure there's nothing clogged where it falls into the bag. So you've checked all the points where there might be a clog. The last thing to check is the bag. Remember, when you open the bag, if that bag is half full, it's already full. Time for a new bag. One of the coolest features of this bag is that it self-seals when you pull it out. Nobody wants a face full of dust. Before I put in the new bag, let me show you this cool safety feature. This red lever goes into a locking position, and that's because we don't want to put the cover back on the unit without a bag installed. In order for that to free up, we're going to need to take this bag, slide it back into position, There's 2 channels that it kind of slides right on and in, and now that lock slides over nice and easily. Proper cord maintenance is essential to keeping your vacuum running smooth. The cord is the #1 thing that breaks down in any vacuum. That's why we went with a pigtail on our CVD models. If your cord becomes damaged and unusable, you can simply unplug it at the pigtail and get yourself a new cord without having downtime. So what I like to do is keep a towel handy and just clean it as I'm putting it away. When you wrap the cord, you want to make sure it's unplugged. Otherwise, it's going to twist and fray inside and damage the cord. While you're wrapping it, inspect it for any cuts or imperfections in the outer sheath of the cord. So that's the CVD series commercial vacuum. We've been talking about the CVD 30, but you notice from the back, it's identical to the CVD 38 and the CVD 48. They all utilize the same bags, same cords, same filters. And the only difference you can tell is from the front. Brush roll on the 19-inch, 15-inch, and 12-inch. Thanks for watching, and for more information, go to tornadovac.com.